Mind control and soul manipulation. The manipulation of sentient minds and the violation of free will is almost universally considered forbidden. This kind of power strips a person of their autonomy, forcing them to think, act, or decide against their will. Because of this, it's often compared to the most extreme forms of control or enslavement. It doesn't just harm the body, it invades the very core of a person's identity. Closely related to this is soul manipulation, such as soul trapping or swapping. These practices involve stealing, imprisoning, or even exchanging the essence of a living being. In many traditions and stories, the soul represents the true self, so interfering with it is seen as a severe violation of life itself. Concepts like splitting or binding souls appear in both historical occult beliefs and modern fiction, always carrying a heavy moral cost. Like necromancy, soul-based magic is often viewed as a disruption of the natural order. It interferes with the balance between life, death, and whatever comes after. Instead of allowing existence to follow its intended path, it forcibly alters it, treating life as something to be controlled rather than respected. Another major branch of forbidden mind magic is memory alteration. This includes erasing, modifying, or fabricating memories. While it may seem less extreme than full mind control, it can be just as dangerous. By changing someone's memories, you reshape their reality, altering who they are, what they believe, and how they understand the world around them. And then, there's one forbidden power, one that almost every human has dreamed about at some point. Immortality. While many cultures tell stories of blessed immortality, such as God's granted eternal life, the idea of mortals trying to obtain it themselves is almost always treated as forbidden. Whether through magic, rituals, or forbidden knowledge, attempting to escape death is often seen as a violation of the natural order. Like other forms of taboo magic, it disrupts the balance of life and death, something many belief systems consider sacred and untouchable. But what makes immortality truly terrifying isn't just how it's achieved, it's what comes after. Eternal life is often portrayed as a curse rather than a gift. Endless existence can lead to stagnation, loneliness, and emotional exhaustion. Over time, the immortal being watches everyone they care about grow old and die, leaving them completely alone. Instead of freedom, immortality becomes an endless cycle with no rest and no escape. A well-known example is Chang'e from Chinese mythology. After consuming an elixir of immortality, she becomes separated from her loved ones and is often depicted as living alone on the moon, symbolizing eternal loneliness and longing. Stories like this highlight the emotional cost of immortality, showing that living forever can mean losing everything that once gave life meaning. Across history and mythology, there are many forbidden methods said to grant immortality. Alchemy and the search for the elixir of life led figures like Qin Shi Huang to consume dangerous substances such as mercury, ironically causing their deaths. Darker methods include soul anchoring, often called lichdom, where a person binds their soul to an object to avoid death, a concept tied closely to necromancy. Other myths, such as those involving Isis, describe rituals of transformation, while legendary figures like Gilgamesh and Maui failed in their attempts to overcome death, serving as powerful reminders that immortality is a boundary humanity was never meant to cross. And just when you think power couldn't get any darker, imagine magic that doesn't just control life, but twists it. Transformation and curse magic are widely feared because they are often used to harm, control, or permanently alter a person's life. Transformation magic, in particular, involves changing the body or mind, sometimes slowly over time, causing pain, loss of identity, or social isolation. Historical texts like the Malleus Maleficarum, 1486, warned against such practices, associating them with witchcraft and dangerous supernatural influence. In many cultures, stories of transforming beings highlight how unnatural and dangerous this power can be. For example, the Manananggal from Philippine folklore is said to split its body and grow bat-like wings at night to hunt for victims, especially unborn children. Other traditions around the world also tell of beings who gain the ability to transform through dark rituals or sacrifices, often at a terrible cost. Curse magic is another major branch of forbidden power. It involves casting harmful intentions onto others, sometimes to bring misfortune, illness, or even death. These curses can be immediate or slowly take effect over time, making them especially feared. Across different cultures, examples include hexes, evil eye beliefs, and ritual curses meant to weaken or destroy a target. Well-known examples of curse magic include practices like voodoo dolls, associated with Vodou traditions though often misunderstood, and the concept of the evil eye, where a person is believed to cause harm through envy or malicious intent. While the details vary across cultures, the core idea remains the same. These forms of magic are considered forbidden because they are used to intentionally harm others, violating both moral and natural boundaries. And then, there's a type of magic that doesn't destroy the body, but takes something far more important. Love magic. Love is one of the most powerful human emotions, and that is exactly why love magic has always been treated as dangerous. In many traditions, love potions are called philters, a term that comes from the Greek philtron, meaning a love charm or love potion. These spells were not just about romance. They were attempts to create desire or attachment artificially, which is why they are so often portrayed as forbidden. What makes this kind of magic especially disturbing is the way it was sometimes tied to harmful ingredients. Historical and folkloric love potions could include toxic plants such as henbane, which has a long history in ritual and medicine but can cause delirium, seizures, irregular heartbeat, and death in high doses. Another notorious example is Spanish fly, a preparation associated with cantharidin from blister beetles. It was historically used as an aphrodisiac, but cantharidin poisoning is dangerous and can severely damage the body. The real taboo is not just the potion itself, but what it tries to do: force feelings that should not be forced. Love magic is feared because it turns affection into coercion, and some ancient spell texts even describe the target as becoming fearful and sleepless while being driven toward the magician. That is why these rites are often seen as a violation of consent, even when they are framed as love rather than harm. And then, there's a power that doesn't just break the rules, it rewrites them entirely. A force that can undo mistakes, reshape outcomes, and twist reality itself, but at a cost no one fully understands. Time manipulation. Time manipulation is one of the most dangerous and forbidden powers because it involves moving against the natural flow of time itself. Changing the past or interfering with events can create paradoxes, situations where cause and effect no longer make sense. While this idea is popular in movies and shows, it's also inspired by real theoretical concepts in physics that explore how fragile timelines could be if altered. Two of the most well-known concepts tied to time manipulation are the grandfather paradox and the butterfly effect. These ideas help explain why changing even a single moment in the past can have unpredictable consequences. The grandfather paradox suggests a logical contradiction, while the butterfly effect focuses on how small changes can grow into massive outcomes over time. To put it simply, the butterfly effect means that even a tiny action in the past, something that seems completely insignificant, can create a chain reaction that drastically changes the future. A small decision could alter events, relationships, or entire histories in ways no one could predict. What starts as a minor change can ripple outward until it reshapes reality itself. The grandfather paradox is an even more direct example of the danger. If someone traveled back in time and prevented their grandparents from ever meeting, they would never be born. But if they were never born, they couldn't go back in time to make that change in the first place. This creates a contradiction that has no clear resolution. Together, these ideas show why time manipulation is often considered forbidden, because even the smallest interference could unravel everything. Necromancy and death magic. Necromancy, also known as death magic, is one of the most feared and forbidden powers in many worlds. It revolves around manipulating the dead, spirits, or even the very essence of life itself. This isn't just about breaking the natural order, it's seen as a direct violation of it. Across most cultures, disturbing the dead is considered deeply disrespectful, making necromancy one of the fastest ways to become an outcast or something far worse. What makes necromancy even more dangerous is that it isn't just one type of magic. It comes in multiple forms, each more unsettling than the last. Osteonecromancy focuses on controlling physical remains, such as corpses and skeletons, turning them into puppets of the caster. Psychonecromancy goes even deeper, targeting souls and consciousness, allowing the user to manipulate a person's will or bind spirits to their command. Then there's the pursuit of immortality, often through a process known as lichdom. This involves abandoning the natural cycle of life and death entirely, anchoring one's existence through unnatural means. In most stories and belief systems, this is seen as a direct defiance of both nature and divine law, transforming the user into something no longer truly alive. Finally, resurrection stands as one of the most controversial forms of necromancy. Bringing someone back from the dead might sound like a miracle, but it often comes at a cost. Many depictions describe resurrected beings as incomplete mere husks, or as disruptions to the natural flow of souls. Instead of restoring life, it can create something unnatural, something that was never meant to return. And that's just the beginning of forbidden power. Because if you think controlling the dead is terrifying, wait until you see what happens when people start making deals with demons. Demonology and Goetia. Demonology and Goetia are among the most feared forms of forbidden magic, centered on summoning, communicating with, or making pacts with demonic entities, spirits, or jinn. Even attempting to call upon such beings is widely considered taboo for a simple reason. They are often portrayed as dangerous and malevolent. Across many traditions, demons are believed to be fallen beings who once defied higher powers. If they rebelled against divine authority, it raises a chilling question. Why would they ever remain loyal to a mere human? What makes this practice even more dangerous is that it doesn't just put the user at risk, it can endanger everyone around them. Summoning a powerful entity into the physical world is rarely clean or controlled. These beings are often depicted as unpredictable, manipulative, and far stronger than the summoner expects. One mistake, one broken condition, and the consequences can spiral far beyond the caster's control. To better understand how this magic works, it helps to break it down into key forms. Demonology often involves forming a relationship with a powerful entity, but that relationship is rarely equal. In many stories, the human becomes a servant or vessel, gradually losing their freedom as the entity gains influence. Instead of gaining power, the user often becomes a tool for something far more dangerous. Then there's the Black Pact and Goetia-style summoning. A Black Pact typically involves trading one's soul, loyalty, or service in exchange for forbidden knowledge or power, a deal that almost always comes with a hidden cost. Goetia, described in texts like the Lesser Key of Solomon, specifically the Ars Goetia, details rituals for summoning and commanding specific spirits, traditionally said to be 72 in number. While it promises control, most interpretations make one thing clear. Dealing with such entities is never truly safe, and the price is always higher than expected. And then, there's a power that doesn't borrow from the dead or bargain with demons. It comes from something far closer. Something that flows through every living being. Blood magic, sangromancy. Blood magic, also known as sangromancy, is one of the most disturbing forms of forbidden power. It involves using blood as a fuel source for magic, often through sacrifice, to strengthen spells, create enchanted objects, or enhance the caster's own life force. What makes it especially taboo is that blood is widely seen as a symbol of life itself, so using it as a tool for power is considered a direct violation of that principle. One of the most dangerous aspects of blood magic is its corrupting nature. Many traditions and stories describe it as addictive. The more it is used, the more the caster craves it. Over time, this dependency can push the user into increasingly extreme actions, blurring moral boundaries and leading them deeper into cruelty and depravity. What makes it even more terrifying is that blood magic is not limited to the user's own blood. Practitioners can draw power from others, which removes any natural limit to its use. This opens the door to exploitation, as the caster may begin to rely on victims to sustain or amplify their abilities. Because of this, blood magic is often portrayed as a downward spiral. The more power the user gains, the more they are tempted to continue, and the more harm they cause along the way. Instead of granting control, it slowly takes control of the user, turning power into a dangerous and consuming force. And that is just the beginning of the darkest forbidden magic and powers in history, myth, and fiction. Some of these powers promise life, love, or control, but in the end, they always seem to demand something far more dangerous. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into mysteries, legends, and forbidden knowledge. It really helps the channel grow, and I'll see you in the next one.